Hey everyone, it's Kristen from Over the Moon Academy, and I just wanted to do this quick video to address a question that I get about my Magical Playbook altars. So if you've been following me on Instagram, then you probably have seen my Magical Playbook altars. Also, if you're in my Magical Playbook class, then you've probably seen them as well. And what I've been doing is making altars that are printed and portable, and I've been keeping them in my Magical Playbook. This is one of them, and I'm doing them based on the Sabbats, and then I have just altars for different occasions as well, for different things: releasing altar and a manifestation altar and a self-love altar. So just a bunch of different things. This is the latest one that I made for Beltana. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But for me, it's just a way for me to kind of learn about the Sabbats by creating these altars with correspondences. So I just look up, just do some research online and just check out, what is that Sabbat about? What are the key correspondences or symbols? And then how can how does it feel to me? I kind of, think about it in terms of like, what does it feel like to me? What would that look like if I was going to create an altar for it? And that's really what I've been doing. And I've been asked about, like, how am I creating these? Or are these just kind of like presets? Am I just pulling them in from someplace else? And the answer is no. I'm creating them just by like layering them with different symbols from pixabay.com. So what I'm going to do is just show you, I'm going to deconstruct one of the altars, this image that I just showed you, just so you can see the different layers. So what I do is I just look at the correspondences. I find pictures on Pixabay that relate, and then I just pull them together and put them into a visual image. And I've been using Google Slides, which, if you're not familiar with it, it's just part of like Google Drive, and it's similar to PowerPoint. So if you're familiar with using PowerPoint, which I think is fairly easy, it's easier than doing like an Illustrator type program. It's just, the ordering, the layering is much easier to do, I believe. And so I think this is something that pretty much anybody can do. You do have to have a little bit of patience, but I think it's accessible to most people. Okay, so what I'm going to do is share my screen so I can take you into my Google Slides. And this is this is what it looks like. I'm on a page. I did a copy of this altar so that I won't mess up my original altar. And I'm just going to go to this page. Actually, I'll show you this part first. I often like to do the flat page as a wreath or something like that. Sometimes I put sacred geometry in there, and that would be the place where you'd lay your cards, or maybe create a crystal grid in that area, just so that you can see what this one looks like. It's just two images. I'm just going to delete the top layer, and this is the bottom layer. Okay, so everybody see that? So that's just two images, and that's usually what I have there. Is just maybe, like I said, two images, a wreath, and then a sacred geometry type of image. Now let's go to the main altar area, and like I said, all I'm going to do is deconstruct it, just so you can see all the different elements that are here. And again, I got all of these from Pixabay. And you just resize things by, for example, clicking on it and then dragging, one end, smaller. You can crop different things. So I think it's pretty easy. I think the average person can use Google Slides pretty easily. So I'm just going to take this layer. You can see, I think this is the flowers, and we're deleting the flowers. Now you can see the ribbons here. There's actually two layers of ribbon. I think this is one layer. Let's get rid of that ribbon. You can also see the statues that I have here. You can get rid of him. We can see another layer of ribbon underneath. Now we're going to get rid of her. Now you can see this is really the foundation of what I use, which is a bowl and candles, and then there's a backdrop. So that's kind of the same setup, and then usually there's something down here at the bottom like flowers or a broom or something that goes down here at the bottom. So let's deconstruct the rest. You'll see in the bowl I have cherries and strawberries, and you can see that there are quite a few different images that I've put, and I've just turned them in different directions so they look more natural. We're going to get rid of the bowl. Now, the candles, what I did with this particular altar, I wanted there to be more fire, because with this Sabbath, there's actually a bonfire. So I wanted there to give the sense that there was like a lot of fire. So I actually added extra fire to these candles. But these are the candles, deleting those. And the only thing that's left as a foreground is the horns. And all of this is the background image. Okay, so it's easier to deconstruct than to put together. So that just shows you how many different layers I put together when I do these altars. And that's pretty standard, in terms of the number of layers that I usually use. But again, some of the elements are the same, and I just kind of copy and paste some of the elements, like the bowl. Candles, I get different candles for different images. I get different flowers and things, but I have the placement for everything essentially right there. And so I'm also doing these in a size that works for my Happy Planner Classic size, which is smaller than 8.5 by 11. And I will be sharing my altars, the download. You can download just the images. If you really don't want to take the time to make your own altar, you can just download the image for yourself and print it out. And just remember that you've got to use the classic size, which I'll put in the classroom, the Magical Playbook classroom. Let's see. There's another altar. Showing you the back of that one, because some of these I printed on two sides. So if you take this up, you see that. And if you take this one down, you'll see the fire on that other side. So you can print them out however you like, whatever way makes the most sense to you. But they will be available in my Magical Playbook classroom. And I'll have altars in a bunch of other pages from my printed Magical Playbook that I did digitally in Google Slides. So I hope that gives you a sense of the altars, how I make them. Again, if you've got some patience, you can make it. I would say these take me about an hour total, with finding images and putting them in, and doing like the research on what I want to put in them. So it's not a terribly long period of time, but take your time with it, and you can come up with something really amazing.